What up, though, junkies? Welcome to another episode of Culture Junkies Live. I'm your host, Kenshiro, resident comic book junkie and anime junkie. We got a special guest in the building. Mike Castro, CEO of Nebula Amusements, is here to put us up on Hado. It's an anime-inspired AR-ESport that is actually growing in popularity worldwide. But we'll get to Mike in a minute. Today with me, as always, sitting to the right of me is the bearded wonder himself and compulsive game junkie and collector, the great Dadakuji.
Hi, everybody. Remember last week when I said I didn't buy any games? Well, I did this week. Actually, no, I don't know how long ago I bought it. It just came in the mail today, though. Hi.
What is it?
I don't know. I haven't opened it yet.
Oh, wow. He's just bearing the lead. And, of course, sitting across from me, manning the soundboard himself, is the Dapper One GQ. What's up?
I lied.
What did you lie about? Oh, yeah, he lied. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
he lied, 100%.
It's going to be like that. I will continue to buy games. Do you realize what is coming up this week?
No.
May 12th.
I know.
And May 12th is, say it with me now. Yeah, Legend of Zelda.
Tears of the Kingdom. Here
There
we
you
go.
go.
Yes.
Until he plays game, and he's going to be like, man, why did I shit on this game for so long? Because it's probably the best Zelda game that ever came out. Breath of the Wild was amazing.
I know you're not talking about me shitting on a game. I didn't shit on it.
You just said, oh, yeah.
I said, oh, yeah, Tears of the Kingdom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't shit on it.
Okay.
Never once did I
All
shit
right,
on it.
I'll take that back.
Okay. Thank you.
My
very
apologies.
much. All
Don't be
right,
shitting on my Zelda. Ocarina of Time was great. I wouldn't call it the best. It was great for 1999, 98. Yeah, I think that's when I came.
Yeah. Yeah. Want to say what else to the usuals in the chat. Grand Finals Gaming is here. Mrs. Amaraka is here. Wolverine Solid X is here, and so is Amaraka himself. If this is your first time joining Culture Junkies Live, thank you for choosing to spend your evening with us. We're going to entertain you for the next hour. First 45 minutes is going to be filled with our show topics, and the last 15 minutes is dedicated to you, the people, in our Power is Yours segment, where we will talk about anything under the sun that you want to talk about. And I really hope somebody brings up Zack Snyder and his delusions of grandeur, because I can't wait to go on a rant about that. Anyway, the follow goal on my right shoulder is where you, the people, can trigger the giveaway if you haven't followed the channel yet. We will pick a random prize from GQ's treasure chest. We've got the Metroid gun that Q apparently doesn't want because he never came to get it. And a bunch of other stuff like, comic books and DVD, Blu-ray box sets and things of that nature. And the extra life meter over on my left shoulder is where we will measure how good we're doing of a job. You reward us with bits, as you can see on the screen. And once you trigger the extra life, we'll tack on an extra 15 minutes to the end of the Power is Yours segment. With that said, allow me to introduce you to Mr. Mike Castro. He is the CEO of Nebula Amusements. It was founded in 2019. Nebula Amusements specializes in the world's first physical augmented reality esport, Hado.
He's beginning to believe.
Mike and Nebula have been bringing Hado to numerous conventions across the comic conventions and anime conventions across the country. But he's also a fellow anime junkie and movie junkie who dabbles in music from time to time. So, Mike, welcome to Culture Junkies Live. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
No, not a problem. So, few questions for you. Tell us about Hado and where it came from.
So first off, Hado is...
Bring your mic a little bit closer to you.
My bad. First off, Hado is essentially 3v3 dodgeball, but instead of throwing rubber balls, you're shooting energy orbs from your hand,
Okay.
similar to like Dragon Ball Z.
Right.
So, and then you can throw up shields that are like... is it okay if I take these off because the echo's throwing me off?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, so essentially it's 3v3 dodgeball, but instead of throwing rubber balls, you are shooting Dragon Ball Z style energy blast from your hands and raising shields like Tron.
Right.
But it's not VR, and that's the thing that throws people off, because even at events, people will see it and go, "Oh, cool, they got VR," and I'll be like, "It's not VR." And I go, "What?" You can see everything.
Right.
With VR, you put on a headset, and all you see is like a video game world. So you see like fake avatar hands. If you take off running, you're gonna run into your like kitchen table. You know what I mean? With what we have, you can see everything. It's similar to CGI. The software layers the game elements over reality, and Yeah, the software layers game elements over reality, and you can see yourself, you can see each other. If you're at a convention, you see cosplay, and it's all motion sensors. So you're not tethered to anything. So you can run. So you're on a 20 by 30 foot court, and you are literally running around just with hand motions, doing the thing we all fantasize about as kids when we watched Dragon Ball,
Right.
which was wishing we could do that. There's like a couple things I remember distinctly from a kid. One is riding in a car and imagining like running on the buildings, running on the telephone lines, jumping.
Oh, of course.
Remember that, right?
Yeah,
And
we all
then-
did that.
Yeah, and then the other thing was just like, oh my god, I want to have a laser tag battle, but have it be Dragon Ball Z style, and that's exactly what this is.
Okay, we got a couple of roll-in videos that we're actually going to switch to right now, and to show the viewers a little bit of what we're talking about.
So this first video is kind of the promo video. Now, Hado came from Japan, you said, right?
Yes.
So the Japanese developed this, and obviously anime inspired because, you know, throwing energy balls, and they kind of, I don't want to say they pioneered that, but maybe they kind of did. But when you're looking at this, you're saying it's all real. You can see everything. So, but they're using sets. I was thinking you're saying you don't need a VR set in order to see. Is that not the case?
Yeah, it's not VR headsets. It's their own custom headset.
Oh, okay.
They actually slide iPhones into them, and they use iPods as motion sensors. And they're a software company, and they develop very expensive software. And people are blown away after they play, and they go, "What headset is this?" And I go, "It's an iPhone," and they don't believe it because there's things built into the headset as well, like lenses and things like that. And but yeah, you see everything. Your peripheral vision is open. So if you have glasses, you don't have to take them off. You can see your feet. You can see the person next to you. It's like looking through your phone and seeing filters, but on another level. Think like an extremely advanced version of Pokemon.
Okay, so this is the video of more or less one of the events, right?
Yeah, this is a mix. There's Anime Magic in Chicago there. That's in Oxford, Michigan. That's at Grand Rapids Comic-Con.
Yeah, it's a mixture of some shots from cons.
Okay,
Cool.
Looks very
So-
interesting.
so you're saying it's a custom set. So actually, I did have more questions about that, but so this isn't VR; it's augmented reality. Explain for laymen the difference between the two.
Well, in VR, it's essentially a virtual world. You are just getting the sight into a video game. So it's the same thing as just if you're playing a video game on your television, but with VR, instead of it just being on a screen in front of you, it's like a 360 view all around you. Right? That's what it's imitating.
Okay.
Oh, with this, it's just the real world, and then it's being enhanced with video game elements. So think about like if you're watching Game of Thrones and Daenerys is standing next to a dragon. We all know there's not
Right.
really a
He's
dragon.
beginning to
The
believe.
two things are layered together so that it appears that way, and this is the same thing.
Interesting. Okay.
I
So
want
it's
to thank King Hakeem for 25 months of subscription. That's awesome.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So, Dado, you had a question right here.
It wasn't really a question. It was more like a statement because it looks very fun. Like most definitely. Is there a, how do you say it? Like a certain, this is not a statement. Now this is a question that I thought of it because it reminded me of a game. The statement reminded me of a game for a PlayStation 1 called Disrega. It was literally like two people in an area throwing beams at each other. Not a lot of people have heard of this game for whatever strange reason. And I always wanted to buy it, but I didn't. Anyway, but is the area limited to a certain space? Could you, for example, say like the idea of you having a huge arena where it's not like, because I saw that space. It seemed like it was like dodgeball space.
20 by 30 feet.
Okay, 20 by 30 feet. Is it possible or is it designed to be where like I've seen paintball courses where you got huge areas with like battle damage and blah, blah, blah going on where people are running through and through, or is it just that like that?
So in its current state, it is only that size or a really, really small size that, for demos that I don't really think is functional for exciting play. The thing with AR is it has to map the room. It has to map the space so it places everything perfectly so that it can follow you, so it can know where you are in space. When we watched that second video, you saw there were banners.
Yeah.
Those aren't just banners just for fun. Those banners are how it tracks you. So it's the relationship between the location of your headset versus the banner across from you.
Okay.
That's how it knows where you are.
Okay.
Where to place everything. What's interesting is the way you aim when you're playing the game is there's like a crosshair in your headset. And wherever you're looking through that crosshair is where it goes. This is just your trigger button.
Okay.
So if I'm looking at you, but my hand's throwing at him, it's still going at you.
Gotcha.
Interesting. So is it really just you mentioned it's like dodgeball. So it's literally you're just throwing orbs. There's no like sustained key blast where you're like going back and forth and like doing the fireball battle like in Budokai Tenkaichi or something like that.
So I'm going to kind of mix your two questions together.
Okay.
All right. So they could make it bigger, but it would take a lot of programming, probably some adjustments, and it'd have to learn how to map at that size. And the bigger space you make it, the more difficult it could be to map. All right. So moving on to your question. So when you're playing, you have to charge your shots or your shield. So you'll have like a charge bar. So when you hold your arm up, you'll see the charge bar going, and there's like you can charge up to 5 shots at a time, but they're in sections. So you can just charge one and fire, right? So this is how you charge. You throw your hand forward. It's motion sensor. So the thing that it's always going to work is holding it at 90 degrees and throwing it forward. But everybody's arm is different. Everybody's body's different. Once you've gotten used to playing, you can find alternative ways to shoot that might work for you, that might not work for someone else. I've seen people do the Arsenio Hall, and it works for them. Remember Arsenio Hall? Brother, that's you got to be my age, But for the listeners,
we all know this.
So, but for other people, that motion might not work. You can simulate that Dragon Ball Z style. You just have to have your top hand start high and then throw it. So you can charge shots, and then you charge your shields by just dropping your hand and then throwing them up. And they're more like, we call them shields, but they're really barriers because they stay in one spot. You can shoot through those. Your teammates can shoot through them and hide behind them.
Okay.
So really you have, charge and shoot, and then charge and raise your shield. And when we do like a convention where there's just a ton of people and we're just trying to get throughput, there's a learning curve to it, but that's beginner mode. In advanced mode, you get stats. And you allocate your stats. So there's like the size of the shot, the speed of the shot, how quick your charge rate is, how many shields you get, and how powerful they are.
So there's a little bit of a RPG element to it.
Yeah. And when we first started taking it out, that's how we ran it. And it took longer to train people. It was a little trickier for them to learn, but people really liked it. But now what we do at the con is if you start spamming the court and playing a lot, once we get everyone who's played a couple games, hey, do you guys want to do advanced mode? And then we let them pick their stats and load out. So you can make giant blasts. You can, I'm going to be the tank. I'll do all the defense. I'll be energy and shield. And someone's, I'm going to be the finisher. I'm going to have big shots that are hard to dodge. And it becomes to where, you start playing roles. They have it. It's growing in Japan pretty big. UK, it's really picking up. They got it in Dubai. They got it in Africa. They got it in China. It was just slow to grow in the US.
Why is that?
Well, from what was explained to me, the way business is done in Japan is very different than the style of business we do here. A lot of what we do here is viewed as like flashy and arrogant a little bit, I think.
That good old American spirit and ingenuity.
American.
Right.
But they were growing it there, and when they came to the U.S., it's tricky to run. You have to be kind of tech savvy to run it. It's not a turnkey thing.
Gotcha.
Somebody can't just pick it up, open it up like if you get like a turnkey VR solution for like a entertainment center. It's not something like that. You got to put the time in to problem solve, to program, to update, and things like that. I'm not really sure what the deal was for them, but why they struggled. But once I picked it up in 2019, and then COVID hit, and we were classified as an arcade, so we got shut down for a year and a half.
Wow.
So and so MeLeap, which is the company who makes Hado, they had set up in California, and they were looking to do sales, and they left during COVID, I think, or right before it, or sometime around that time they left. I think it was during COVID. And there was this me and the guy in Austin who owns Cyberpunk Sports, and he had it for about a year and a half before I did. Took it to South by Southwest, things like that. He had a little bit older version than what I got. But he's no longer operating because he got shut down too, and then I think he just needed to update his stuff, like get new equipment, and it's expensive, so he didn't get it.
So are you saying you're the only one?
I was the only one operating, and then a company in Florida picked it up called Green Mouse Academy.
Okay.
And then someone in Vegas just bought one, but I don't know if they're operational yet.
Okay.
Now, one question I do have is how long do the matches typically last? I mean, is it kind of one of those, because you said it's 3-on-3, right?
Yeah.
So how long do the matches normally last?
We usually run 3 rounds, and the rounds are 80 seconds, and that sounds like not a lot of time, but people are winded, and they'll be like, my arms are tired.
That's what I was kind of getting at. It was like, I know there's obviously a lot of people think right off the bat, yeah, I can jump in there and do it. And then once they get to moving around, it's like, yeah, you're not as healthy as you thought you were.
What you'll see a lot too is when you watch the little sample video of what I had from people playing at cons, that's very different than if you watch like the professional videos from the Hado World Cup. Where people are running and dodging and jumping and sliding on their knees on knee pads and stuff. Usually, like, there's a couple of habits that brand new players do. Brand new players tend to stand in one spot. If they do dodge, they'll either take too small of a step or they'll just walk backwards, which if someone shoots at you, you can't escape by moving backwards. They'll just hug the back of the banner as close as they can and thinking that that's going to help them, and it doesn't. There's a target that floats in front of everybody. They're your life cells, or we call them like flowers because those are flower petals. And it's about this big. So no matter what size you are, whether you're a big dude or a little kid, you are the same size target. And once all 4 of your petals get hit, you're KO'd. You respawn in a couple seconds.
Right.
And you just get right back in the game. That's how the other team scores a point. But so at the beginning, people don't really move much, and then they start to get comfortable with it. They start figuring it out, and then they start like in between rounds plotting with each other, like, all right, here's what you're gonna do. Here's how we're gonna beat them. Fun.
It's it almost sounds like a generational thing, because when you first came in and we were talking about it, you mentioned obviously dodgeball. We all come from a generation that played dodgeball in school. Current generation, I don't think they even do that anymore. So I mean, are you seeing a lot of people that from maybe our age group that kind of already know how to do this because of the dodgeball experience, or is it kind of one of those?
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
It's a mix, really.
Really?
Sometimes kids struggle, teenagers struggle. Sometimes they pick it up quick. Same thing with adults. Sometimes the adults pick it up quick. It's because it's a mesh of video game and physical. What I have noticed is that it's extremely popular with people in their 30s and people in their 20s. Like, that's the main demographic for us. Kids will enjoy it, but like the people who spam the courts and don't stop playing are in their 20s and 30s.
Interesting.
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, that's the tail end of that dodgeball playing age. So yeah, that makes sense.
So another question I had, you alluded to that it's over in Europe and in Japan, it's growing, and it's obviously really good, really big. So in some of the, I was going through your LinkedIn profile and saw a few of the pictures that you shared from. They have actual, I wouldn't say leagues, but events, or they call them cups, like where
they have leagues in other countries.
So they do have leagues. Yeah. Okay, and I even saw the picture of they actually have an arena, like a dedicated building for Hado in some of their malls. And speak to that. Where is that kind of where you're trying to grow it to get to be? Where we've got sanctioned leagues and it's being live streamed and that type of thing, similar to I still can't believe that on ESPN sometimes I'm seeing tag matches, like literally they're just running around and playing tag. Like, it's crazy.
Serious business.
It is now.
Yeah.
Definitely want to get some leagues going. Neleap reestablished Hado USA, based out of Florida now, and they have exclusivity for Florida. I have exclusivity for Michigan. They'll be running the National League. Hado USA will be running the National League. They're the ones selling it, but I have, complete just control of Michigan. But I'm working with them. This is not a
okay.
They're really awesome guys, and our goal is to build it together. We care about Hado as an esport, and so they help me out with some things. I help them out when I can, with whatever, like when they first were establishing it, I just shared with them, okay, here's what I've learned about Hado in the United States and the market here. So yeah, they're working on getting some leagues going. They focus on STEM and schools. There's a company called Green Mouse Academy, and they do everything from like kids, like teaching kids like how to code or how robotics or things like that. So they added Hado to it. They had Hado at some tech shows down there. I think they had it like the Museum of Science and Industry for Florida, and they do a lot with like middle schools.
Okay,
so they're establishing middle school leagues and things like that. which is if you establish a middle school league, that means in a few years it's easy to establish a high school league.
Absolutely.
And then it's easy to establish a college
Got to
league.
get them when they're young.
Yeah. So I'm going to look to do the same thing here. I took a different approach because what I saw with it was everything's different here. Our market's different in Michigan.
Right.
And for me, I saw it as you have superpowers. That should be cosplay. You know what I mean? And so I like the idea of where can I get this in front of people that they want to play it. When I first got it, I ran 3 small events, and they lost money. They had small turnouts. People didn't know what it was. I had some people come. I saw a Facebook ad night, and a guy I used to do jiu-jitsu with showed up. I was like, hey, how'd you hear about this, Davis? And he was like, oh, I just saw an ad. I didn't know it was you. He goes, I thought it was VR. I was like, no. And then he loved it. He's an athletic dude, too. He does MMA and everything, so he was moving. But I did a couple of small events, and I was like, this is taking too slow to build. I gotta, people gotta understand what it is. And I need to get this somewhere where the people are at, where it's the right demographic. And I reached out to Youmacon, which is an anime convention in Detroit.
Yep.
Biggest one in
Very
Michigan
familiar.
for
Yep.
anime. And they were kind enough to kind of get us in last minute. We were there in 2019.
Okay.
And they put together Dead State. I think it's Dead State Design. Runs their whole gaming area. They put together an amazing, probably the best game room I'd ever seen at any convention.
Yeah.
They had arcade cabinets. They had big esports stage. Core designed these beautiful trophies, and we were just right when you walked in. And it was once we set up, and that room was beautiful too. I was like, this is where we belong. From there, I started booking conventions for 2020. We were going to do this thing called Replay FX in Pittsburgh. When it's put together, it is the largest arcade in the world. At least that's what they boast. And it's like pinball machines, and they had beer gardens and all this stuff. And COVID in it.
COVID again. Yep.
Yeah, and we lost every contract we had was gone. Everything we were in negotiations with fell through. We had a kind of like a little sponsorship where we're getting paid by a company who had built a video game that at the time was only on Xbox, and we were going to take it and set up stations for people to play at conventions. I had to refund that money because we can't do conventions now. And all the money I took out for the loan, I had to use to pay the loan.
Oh.
Yeah. So by the time we were allowed to come back out, because arcades were in the state of Michigan, because that's how we are on government forms as an arcade.
Right. That's what you're classified as.
Yeah, that's what we're
essentially,
classified as. Those were shut down longer than movie theaters. They were the last one to come up.
Right.
Or to come back. And so by the time year and a half goes by and your company has no income, but all the bills are due for the big loans you took out. The loan paid itself, but you're losing money because of interest. So we were almost bankrupt by the time we came out. And ever since then, we've just been month to month to month grinding it out. We came back and did U of M Blue Bash. And I had to do a little bit of something to add. So I started vending. And I was like, well, we're going to anime cons, and we're a gaming company, so I started doing anime tabletop games like Cowboy Bebop, Attack on Titan, Naruto, Sailor Moon. And then my son at the time was starting to get into D&D a little bit, so then we started vending like really high-end D&D dice, like Glass, Gemstone, Liquid Core. We now do CCGs and accessories, and then we moved into like anime candy and energy drinks. Now we sell like exotic game jerky, but it's like themed, so it's like dragon, and it's alligator Cajun, or mermaid, which is Hawaiian teriyaki pork. And so now.
Wait a minute,
Yeah.
Lion teriyaki pork.
Hawaiian
teriyaki
pork, pineapple.
I said lion. Okay.
No, but we do got camel.
You said Hawaiian.
Bro, we got camel. We got ostrich.
Camel.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of exotic stuff.
Is centaur. Ostrich is griffin.
Wow.
Duck is kraken.
Okay.
And it's all themed. It's a company called Mystical Meats, and yeah, so we do cons now. So we have like a vendor booth. We do Hado. And so at every show we go to, they don't always have the money or the space to book Hado because it takes a big footprint.
Right.
It usually take about 40 by 40 feet. So we'll still go to conventions. We'll buy booths. We'll vend there, and we're just trying to grow into an all-around video game company. And like I was saying earlier, I think before we started, like to me, it's like really important to work with other people.
Yeah.
So I've been just trying to partner up with different people. Grand Finals Gaming.
Yes, our good friends.
Yeah. Been shouting you out in the chat.
Yeah.
We're doing Motor City Comic-Con, not this weekend, but next weekend.
Yeah.
And for them, it's like you got to pay to play. At this particular con, you can do like it's like $15 for unlimited play of Hado all weekend, or $6 for a game to try it out.
Okay.
And people can go to our website, nebulaamusements.com, and click on the link there. It'll say MC3 pre-sale. But we're bringing Garrett from Grand Finals with us, and he's going to set up some esports setups for Friday and Saturday.
Okay.
Just so people can play, and he's a pretty solid dude. And
yes, he is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's in the
Man
chat.
he's in the chat.
Yeah, Garrett's a real good dude.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Good dude. He'll be back in the studio with us in a couple of weeks. So, now, how you mentioned starting the leagues and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Run me through how is that gonna work? Like, are these gonna be like people you just sign up, like if you were to go to what is the tournament runner thing? Smash? Not Smash GG, but you get what I'm saying. Where basically you go to a website, you basically sign up and you register your team, and you would have to go to a certain amount of events. Is that how this is going to work when you start doing the league?
I can't speak for what the National League is going to be like, but for myself, our thing is we need a physical location to really establish a league.
Okay.
Or we're going to have to do it through schools. We're going to have to take Hado setups to different schools.
Man, that's going to be hard.
So what I would do is I would have the school purchase the court stuff, which is not expensive at all. Like, not expensive at all. They could get all the court stuff for less than $1,000, and we just bring the tech.
Okay.
And that we can just throw in the back of the car and take it up. I want to work with a couple of schools, and when I first started, I want to start with one school, because if it's 3-on-3, you can have teams of 4, so you have an alternate, and literally, like, you can have grades play each other or have teams within grades, and then you can have a whole league within a school, and then there can be some teams and then I thought if we do multiple schools, then there can be like X amount of teams per grade, and it's like a wrestling meet where this group goes against each other, and this group goes against each other, and this group goes against each other, and then whatever one won the most games between all of the players.
Can you imagine the chaos of introducing this to a middle school and saying, hey, y'all work it out and determine who's going to be playing, because they're going to be fighting each other
That's
to
why
be playing this thing.
I want to do multiple teams.
Okay, right.
Per grade, per school, and it's co-ed. You know, what's really excellent is, there's very little barrier of entry. As long as you can make the motions, you can play. We've had people playing wheelchairs. We've had 67-year-old people playing.
Did you say 70?
Yeah, yeah. They don't move a lot, but if you can aim, you can aim. At the last event we did, which was GR Spring Fling, they did a road trip, a con in Kalamazoo last month. There was a family that came up, and the gentleman had a daughter in a wheelchair. She was special needs, and he was just asking questions like, can she at least put the headset on? And I was able to gather that he was saying, like, she can't actually play, but is there a way we can put the headset on her so it can at least be part of the experience? And I was like, yeah. But after we suited her up, I asked, is she able to make the hand motion? And he was like, no. And I was like, okay. So I put the wristband on, and I crouched on the floor next to her wheelchair, and I talked her through it, and she did all the aiming, and I did all the trigger, and we were like, just like in like a movie where someone's flying the ship and someone else is pulling the trigger.
Yeah,
That's what we did. And she got some kills. She was, she didn't have great movement of her head, so she was limited. So I picked a strategy. All right, what's really big? Shields. We're gonna attack shields. So I was like, just aim at those shields. And then she got more of a hang of it, and she couldn't necessarily follow people as they moved, but she was able to at least line it up to where we would just leave it there and they would move into the range, and then I'd fire.
There you go.
She got a couple of kills, and she had a really good time. And so I do like that, because with esports, that's one thing, it's very inclusive.
Yeah.
Right? This is a blend of that. If you're athletic, that can help you, but you don't have to be, because there's play styles that don't require a lot of movement.
Right.
Like when I play, I mix it up. I'll stand in one spot and just dodge when it's there, or other times I move around a lot. I mix up between athleticism and just pure tactics. And that's something that I do appreciate about it. But I need to get a location. Once I get a location, we'll have where you can there'll be nights where you just come up, just like with laser tag. It's just, you pay a certain amount of money, it's unlimited play, and you just make games out of whoever's there.
Right.
We did a pop-up in Oxford where we did like private rentals, where it was like $240. You can bring up to 12 people, and you have Hado for 2 hours to play as much as you want.
Right.
Where we were at, we were inside of this bar restaurant. You could order food and drinks, which it was really funny to watch people play Hado when they were drunk.
Imagine.
And it was on AstroTurf, so it was nice.
Oh,
and
man.
that was fun. We did that for a few months. And then we would establish a league where you have a team, you come out, you play every week for your team. You can come in and practice during the off days, and then there is a league tournament, and then we'll just have open tournaments. And if you win the league tournament, you get free entry into the open tournament. And we just keep doing that and establishing, leagues like that, and adult leagues, and eventually like teenager leagues, things like that.
Oh man, that's really cool. All right, guys, we're gonna take a quick break, run our Patreon ad, and then we'll come back with and talking more about augmented reality in general. Be right back.
The entire Culture Junkies crew would like to thank you for tuning into our programming. We hope you are enjoying our content as much as we enjoy making it. One thing that helps us continue bringing you our unique content is viewer support. By visiting the Culture Junkies Patreon page, you will have the opportunity to select the support level that works best for you. Not only will your support help keep the Culture Junkie Nation growing, but you will make yourself eligible to receive patron-exclusive swag. Please take a moment to consider supporting us and join the ranks of the supporters you see listed on the screen. We would like to also give a special shout out to our Culture Junkies level and above patrons: DeMarcus Smith, Fab Nerd Life, NanetteNet, The Other Steve, and Black Crowned Knight. Remember, for as little as $1 a month, you can support a Culture Junkie. Thank you.
I love the battle.
All right, thanks again to all of our patrons for their support. We could not do this without you. So we're back with Mike Castro, CEO of Nebula Amusements. And VR is growing very quick, but yet AR is growing as well. Obviously, just before the pandemic, maybe a few years ago, AR really exploded when Pokemon Go became like the game of choice for seemingly everybody on the planet. But what other types of games, AR or otherwise, would you, Mike, like personally like to see outside of Hado notwithstanding? What do you think is missing from the space that could actually make it explode even more? If there was an AR type game.
So this is where it gets a little tricky. There was a Harry Potter mobile game too, but I don't think it took off like Pokemon Go did.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't even remember this.
Yeah, I don't think it lasted long. There's a Netflix series called The Future Of, and they have a gaming episode, and they have clips of Hado on it. And most of it is dedicated, the whole episode, most of it is dedicated to AR, and it goes over some of the problems with AR. AR requires mapping, and so it's hard to map the whole world because things change.
Right.
And so there's a race between a lot of the big companies. They're all trying to develop really advanced AR. Things like even Google Glasses is a form of AR. Companies use it to train like engineers, like an augmented reality engine appears and look at it and 3D model and everything. But it's tough, like I said, because you have to map out a space.
Right.
I know MeLeap has other games because this isn't just Hado. It's actually Hado PvP. It's a specific Hado game.
Okay.
There's Hado Monster Battle, which is you're on the same team, you shoot magic, and there's giant dragons that fly. I'm going to pick that up.
Okay.
But there's a company out there called Tilt 5, and they made a holographic table. It's a augmented reality table, and it's amazing. They specifically focused on board games, but there's some video games and stuff on there too. So say we're all sitting around the table, and we're looking at this weird reflective kind of board. And we put on our AR glasses, it's hooked up to a computer, and all of a sudden we see this 3D holographic augmented reality, all like the board, like pick any board game, and it's there. And you're playing it, and you use this wand, or you can use a mouse, and you're just controlling it. Now imagine it's the same thing, but you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, and you're the dungeon master, and you control what we see. Meaning, if I walk into a room and he's not in it, in mine, I only see the room I'm in. He only sees the room he's in, but you see everything. You can make smoke effects, anything like that. Now imagine we're playing, and you got to dip out to go home or for whatever reason. As soon as you get home, you can log back on your table, and we can all still play. So we can play remote. We can play together if we all, if we all have it, we can play remote.
Right.
We can play a game, leave, no cleanup, come back later, and go back to the save file and start the game off. Whose turn it was?
Oh, no, see, that's cool. I like that. No, I like that a lot.
You just made our producer very, very happy back
Indeed.
there. I can guarantee you.
Because he was literally just nerding out over this course of this past weekend on D&D. So.
Oh yeah, it's called the Tilt 5 table. And I think they're out in California. I reached out to him when I first started seeing stuff about him and I was interested in getting some because it fits our theme, and I want to demo their games at conventions. But it was in such early stages. They didn't have enough. They didn't have enough games really, and any that really I thought would really pop on it. I think Hearthstone would be great on it. I think League of Legends would be great on it. Summoner's Rift, the way it would lay out on that table would be incredible. A lot of people, they're starting to do, like, they're doing video games with it. A lot of kind of top-down games would be fantastic. I would like to see the original Zelda on the Tilt 5 table. I think that would be killer.
Pretty fun.
3D original Zelda, you know, because it's the top-down view, and I think that would be sick. But I'm gonna pick some of those up. But it's open source, so anyone can make. They want you to make stuff for it.
Okay.
So if you're a designer, I'll look up Tilt 5, and they give you ports that you can port your already existing video game over to it and make it augmented reality.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
So I mean, they provide all the tools. You can
Right.
sell your game through their store. They take their cut. It's really a brilliant thing. So I think that's cool. It's not that much money. It's less than $1,000, but you have to have a computer for it, right? So then, it's a gaming computer, and you can use it for other things.
Right.
Oh yeah.
For me personally, I still think people are waiting for, because this is what all the kids growing up watching anime in the early 2000s, when they saw Kaiba bring out that dual disc and put in the card and the monsters just started popping up on, like, in real life, if they can get that, Yu-Gi-Oh! Not saying that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is not popular now, because it still pretty much is, especially on PC with Duel Masters and stuff like that. But if they were to do that, and you could take your actual Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards that have, like, maybe a little
Thing you scan.
a thing you scan, and literally put it on the table, a trap card or Blue Eyes White Dragon popping up on the screen, people will lose their minds.
That'd be killer on.
Yes.
Almost any card game if you think about it.
Yeah,
That's
right.
Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon,
Oh, Marvel Snap. Actually, Marvel Snap
Snap
will
would
work
be
very
killer.
Magic
well,
the
right?
Gathering.
Magic.
Magic would be
Magic the
tough
Gathering.
because Magic is so complex that anytime it's been in video game form, it's very clunky because there's too many possibilities of choices. So the game's like, do you want to do this? No. Do you want to do this? No. Do you want to do this? Do you want to? Like, oh my god.
Really?
Yeah. It's always been
Didn't
tough
know that.
to have Magic run smoothly. They kind of got it now with Arena, but it's still Hearthstone is much smoother.
So you mentioned that they were taking tabletop games and starting to do this. So imagine a Warhammer in this.
Warhammer
or
40K. You ain't got to paint your miniatures. or you do, right? You do, because some people really love the miniature game.
They
So
do.
imagine that you can have those 3D cameras.
Yeah.
You take a 3D model of your painted miniature, and then you have it in the game. You can upload your own painted miniatures into the game.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Yes.
that would be killer.
That would be killer.
There's a guy out in Lansing by the name of Rick Anke. He owns Thunderford Studios, and his clients are like a lot of the big board game companies.
Right.
And he works with WizKids, and they make like D&D miniatures, HeroClix, all kinds of games like that. And he puts on these paint and take arenas where he's looking for game stores to work with them. If you can, probably bring out 50 to 100 people. If you can bring out 50 to 100 people to come to the event, he brings a bunch of like D&D miniatures, paints. You come in there, they'll teach you how to paint them. You get to take it home for free. And he does this at conventions. He just did it at C2E2 in Chicago. I think he's going to do it at Capital City Comic-Con in Lansing. I'm not sure. I'd imagine he is because he works very closely with them. I don't speak for him, so I don't know.
Right.
But I'll probably be doing some events with him. But because I had kind of was talking about that when I was talking about Till 5 with them. And he was like, well, those Warhammer guys want their miniatures. But I don't want to paint miniatures. You know what I mean? I don't have that time. I like them. I want them painted, but I don't want to do painting.
Right.
So for me, it would be awesome. So I think it opens up to a lot of tabletop games for people who don't have the time or the skill to paint or the money to buy all that stuff.
It's the money. It's always the money.
It opens the door for them to get in the game too. So it increases the demographic.
All right, I'm gonna jump in real quick. Got 2 redeemed messages actually, both from Takeem. First one he says is, "Why are we not funding this?" Which again, that's something down the line, obviously.
Right.
The second one was he was giving a lot of respect to you for helping that young lady out in the wheelchair, for helping her get into the game.
Yeah, because he was saying he could relate.
Yeah. He basically said it this way: as a gamer with a history of neuro disabilities, that story was awesome, Mike. Respect, fam.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. My son is he's autistic. And he's freaking awesome. He's a really good drummer, actually. He's gotten into magic and things like that, and started his own business and everything. Super proud of him, and it's helped me to really understand just the diversity in the way people's brains work.
You're right.
And what's exciting is oftentimes we will get attendees at conventions, and whenever someone comes, I think well, first of all, they're just a human being, so you have to treat everybody good.
Sure.
Oh, yeah,
But
absolutely.
I can think about sometimes when maybe other kids aren't necessarily nice to my kid, how that makes me feel and how it makes him feel. And I try to give everyone the best experience I can get, and I don't want anyone to ever feel left out just because someone doesn't know how to work with them. Because sometimes when someone's different, people just think they can't. It's not always that they can't. It's just that they have to approach it a different way.
Right.
And so it's important to be open that everyone's different. Everyone needs to be treated with respect, and just because they have to do it differently, it doesn't mean they're doing it wrong.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. All right, we got a few more minutes until we have to turn it over to the people. So give the people a little bit of background on you. You mentioned that you're into martial arts and anime and comics. So now we got to put them on the spot. Favorite martial arts movie of mine?
Oh, movie. I lost interest in martial arts movies when I started watching the UFC, because I was like, that don't look real anymore. But I'm gonna go ahead and say I absolutely adored Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Okay.
And I do forget the name of it. It was a Jet Li movie.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
There's a bunch of flowers in it. It's like really pretty.
If it's the
Oh, you're talking about Hero?
Yes, Hero.
Talking about Hero.
Oh, okay,
Love
no,
Hero.
that's not what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Of. I was thinking if it was the remake of Chinese Connection, where I can't remember the name.
Oh,
Fist of Legend?
Fist of
Yeah, Fist of Legend.
Fist of Legend is like my favorite movie.
That's
of
what
his.
I was thinking. You were thinking of.
But no, it was Hero.
Yeah,
it's Hero.
I love everything from the music to
Yeah.
the visuals and to the fighting, and I think those are probably my favorite martial arts movies.
Okay, so now anime. What was your what got you into anime when you were younger?
So I wasn't really much into it, and then I had a friend named Aaron who was really into it. And he would show me stuff, and he introduced me to Dragon Ball, which I liked it. I thought it was cool. I thought it got repetitive, but I liked it.
Please, Planet Namek is going to explode in 5 minutes.
Yeah,
30 episodes later, Anyway, go ahead.
he'd show me different movies and stuff. I'd go to his house and watch them, and I enjoyed them. And I liked the artwork from it.
Of course.
I had some friends who liked Sailor Moon, and I thought the art was cool.
Yeah.
The colors and the way everything was drawn. And then I kind of got away from it. And then when I started doing conventions again, I was like seeing cosplays, and I was like, well, this is going to be the world I work in now. I need to know what this stuff
Be
is.
familiar. Right.
Yeah. So then I started like, well, I'm going to download League of Legends, because I kept seeing League of Legends cosplays. I fell in love with that game. I played it constantly for a while. And I started watching anime, asking friends for recommendations. I loved Death Note.
That great.
That was my
Yeah.
I got to meet the voice actor for
For Light?
L.
For L? Okay.
L and what's the Shinigami?
I forget the Shinigami's name.
Yeah.
Gosh,
Ryuk.
it's been so-
Was it Ryuk?
Right. Ryuk.
Ryuk.
Ryuk,
Yeah,
yeah,
I met
Ryuk,
him at GR Spring Fling. Really nice. But anyways, and then from there I just started watching different ones. I watched My Hero. I thought I wasn't gonna like it because it's like more kiddish, but I actually really like My Hero.
Did you see the new season?
I have not.
Oh my gosh.
Buckle up.
The new
That's all I'm gonna say.
stuff that you might have.
Buckle up.
I started it.
Yeah.
But I had to dip out on Hulu for a minute, and I'm gonna go back and get
Hey,
it.
I got you.
But
buckle up.
But
It gets
yeah, I'm
deep.
excited for that.
It gets deep.
But my
Oh
favorite.
boy.
That's one of my
Slayer.
top.
I know it's good.
Yeah.
One of my top three. Attack on Titan.
Attack on
Everybody
Titan.
says
Okay.
Attack on Titan.
Love
Okay.
Attack on Titan. Man.
Okay.
Love it. We saw the CCG. We saw the board game. I love Attack.
Okay. Don't lie. Okay. Favorite moment or battle from Attack on Titan? Because I have a favorite.
Okay. I have to think back because I haven't seen it since last week.
Okay.
Started.
Titan has gotten a lot better over time. Though,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's slow in the beginning.
Yes.
Really slow.
Really
in
slow.
a bit.
They really try and overload you with the lore, especially if you don't read
I didn't
those.
think it was overload with the lore. I didn't think they told you anything.
Okay.
They didn't tell you anything, and I was just like, okay, where's the story? What's going on? Why do I care about these characters? And why is everybody saying this is like the best? Because it's violent. I like the violence of it, but it was like it took a while for that character development to get to where it is. Where it is now, I can say it's a great anime. But when you asked me just watching the first season, I would have told you no. I thought it was trash.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was trash, but I wanted to see where it was going. But it was so slow. The first season, you don't really know what it is.
You don't know nothing.
Yeah, you don't know what it is.
They don't explain anything at all.
What was your favorite moment or battle from Attack on Titan? Would you say?
It's hard to say. I would say my favorite battle is when Mikasa goes off and just slaughters everybody last season.
Okay.
She's on that rooftop, those rooftops, just bloodying everybody up.
Yes.
Because you're waiting for her to, because she's the next
Ackerman.
Levi.
She's Ackerman.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite battle.
Yeah.
I don't know what my favorite moment is because I'd have to rewatch everything.
So for me, right? Yeah. For me, it's Levi versus the Beast Titan.
Oh, that
shit was so good. Yeah. It was so good. So yeah. Levi versus Beast Titan is my favorite. All right, people, the power is yours. This is the time where we just open it up to the people and they can start asking a lot of questions out there. It's like Wolverine Solid X is saying, Flash trailer looks good. Definitely a see it and Fast 10 Fast 10 is a
Are we calling it Fast 10 or Fast X?
Fast 10.
It's Fast 10.
Nobody called the last one Fast 9.
Well,
8.
Yeah, they did.
7, 6, 5.
They always
keep going.
They always use
4.
different versions of it.
Exactly.
No,
now everybody want to put a number on it.
It was Fast 5, Furious 6, Fast 7, Fate of the Furious. So they jump around.
I've never heard anybody use Furious 6. I've never heard that one. Yeah, that one I haven't
remember
heard.
It was Too Fast, Too Furious. It wasn't like Fast and the Furious Part 2. Can't use the number now. It's Fast X.
So Fallen Marvel brought up, said, did you guys cover that L Microsoft been holding this week? So he's alluding to the whole thing about Phil Spencer basically announcing that they made massive mistakes with the Xbox One generation, and they're losing. They're massively losing money on selling Xboxes. It hasn't turned a profit, and they pretty much thrown in the towel. Like, yeah, we lost the console war because we screwed up because they focus so much on Xbox Game Pass that the console itself has suffered.
Is this the same guy that said you can buy an Xbox 360 if you want to,
not 360, it was Xbox One.
No, but wasn't it during the launch of the One? He said you can just buy an Xbox 360 if you did. Is that the same guy?
I think
if you want to play
it is Phil
old
Spencer
games,
that did that. Yes,
it could be.
I think
that's what it was.
The hubris was huge.
Mm-hmm.
I have a Series X and I turn it on for my old games and Elden Ring. And the only reason I bought Elden Ring on the PlayStation, not on the PlayStation 5, is because they didn't have it in stock. And I'm like, Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5. I'm sorry. The game's going to look the same. They're going to play the same. It's going to be 4K 60 if the game is doing that, right?
Yeah.
And I own them both. Don't really care. They didn't have it in stock. I got it on there. But all the legacy games, as I call it, I get them on Xbox.
I imagine, Mike, you're a busy man. Do you have time to play like Xbox or anything else, or is it
My son has a Switch. I play like mobile app games now.
Honestly, me too now. And that was like anathema to me back in the day. Like if you would have said, I turn my nose up at mobile gaming. I used to. But now, I know.
What about Brawl Stars? You ever play Brawl Stars?
I know. I used to turn my nose up at mobile gaming, but now I don't. Yeah, it's really good. It's
Brawl
really good.
Stars. It's kind of like your Hado. But there's different games you can play. Like it'd be 3 teams, and every character has their own projectiles and whatnot. That guy turned my wife onto it. My wife plays. Look, I have a big collection, huge games, library. It's a lot of games, right? Should just play Brawl Stars. I'm like, look, you could pick any of these games.
He's literally got thousands of games.
Yeah, he has a wall of games.
Yeah, he's a wall of games.
And play some game.
Nope.
Brawl Stars.
Brawl Stars. That's it.
Yeah. And he was like, well, you want to play Brawl Stars with me? I was like, sure.
She's like, I picked one. You have 1,000 and I picked one.
Yeah, she did.
Right.
She picked it on
but
the phone.
But it wasn't a game that he had.
Oh.
That one.
She added to the collection, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
And I like Brawl Stars, but I'd like it more if I didn't have to. Tactile buttons, got to do it. Old school gamer. And, of course, there's no support or controller.
Mm-hmm.
I could probably get one of those things that connect to it and do an overlay, because they have on-screen overlays that you can make it like the buttons is pressing the touch screen. But touchscreens, I can't do it because I can't feel where I'm going. Hands getting away because it's screen. There's just a lot of stuff for me.
It's an interesting transition. Coming out of the chat, Hand of Omega was asking if people have beat Jedi Survivor already. Of course they have.
Yeah, of course they have.
Yeah, why wouldn't
they probably beat it on the first day.
Yeah, there's dudes out there that just spend all day. I got more games than I make time for.
And I played 1.5 levels of Jedi Survivor. So I'm like on the second world. I enjoy it a lot. It's really
I haven't
good.
even played the first one yet. I'm still playing.
It's good.
Force Unleashed.
My wife plays. She's big into Zelda and Metroid.
So looking forward to Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah. I definitely wanted to have that.
Okay.
That was awesome. Does Xbox make their own games?
Yeah, Microsoft has them, but their problem is they don't act like Sony or Nintendo, where this is an exclusive. It's only going to be on our system. Because had they done that with certain titles, it'd be a hard time for Sony and Microsoft.
I agree.
Yeah.
But they don't do that.
Will they switch to that and do what Sega did and just be a software company?
I think that's what they're trending towards.
So
if we're being honest, because if you think about it, right, Xbox Game Pass was a major step in that direction, and they've put so much focus on Xbox Game Pass, to Dido's point, that the games that they could have made exclusive to Xbox, they put it on Game Pass.
Yeah.
So now I don't have to buy an Xbox because I got a PC.
You got a PC. You got it all.
You got a Switch.
I do have a Switch.
You can put it on a Switch.
I hear Game Pass they wanted to put Game Pass on Switch.
Yeah.
I thought they did.
I'm not 100% sure.
I think they're trying, but here's the thing, and it really does seem like they're trying to get out of the console market, because the Xbox One, if you really look back on it, over its entire lifespan, it feels like it's just been one system that got upgraded 2 times. And the reason I say that is with the Game Pass, with the architecture for the actual thing that they built, they made it so you could play on the Xbox One, and then you have the Series X, and then it's like, okay, there's some games that work back and forth between them. It's like, if you really want to take a step forward, you make it so the last system doesn't do anything with the new stuff. And outside of backwards compatibility, but I'm saying in the sense of the new game is played on the new system.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
A dumbed down version of it on the old system. That's PC gaming, basically.
Because it is. Because Elden Ring, I could take that game, put it in an Xbox One, and it'll play. At the first Xbox One. Put it in the Xbox Series X, and it runs the best. So, like what you're saying, I get what you're saying. But I'm the type of person where I like the idea of what they were trying to do. And had they made it better backwards compatible, that's the thing I'm mad about Sony. PlayStation 5, I believe, should have been backwards compatible with all of them. But they don't want to do that. And that's fine, because a lot of people in their mindset is like, you got the new system, you don't want to play the old games. But when you have a lot of collection like me, I still go backwards a lot. Like I said, I'm still playing Force Unleashed. I just beat Spider-Man for PlayStation 4. And I'm okay with that, because I'll play I'll play the new games when they're cheap. There's no reason to buy them when it first comes out. I will buy Tears of the Kingdom when it first comes out.
I'm laughing at Fall of Marvel. Man, he said didn't help that their first party titties have been missing the mark.
I think he meant titles.
I'm guessing he meant titles.
I think he meant titles. He said, okay. What kind of titties are you talking about?
Wow.
That is funny.
Yo,
did you just say Spider-Man for PlayStation 1 was better?
That's hilarious.
I don't know. I never played the PlayStation 1 Spider-Man.
One thing that, and I got to pull this out of the chat, and they've been saying it since the beginning, since we've been talking about it for Hado.
Yeah.
Lightsabers. Is it possible? Because that's what everybody's been saying.
Oh, yeah. They want to do lightsaber valves.
Wouldn't you have to get close to somebody in order to hit him with a lightsaber?
I'm confident that they could design something. It won't be quite how we want it to be. Right?
Okay.
But I think the technology will get there. But I can say this, that because Hado is motion sensor, I've played around with objects and it works. So I've had like Harry Potter wands, and it'll shoot from the wand.
Oh, wow. Okay.
See, that would get you something completely different, because in their brains, lightsabers is what we've seen. Lightsaber batteries. You're not shooting bolts and stuff from lightsabers.
No, I get it. But what I'm saying is the technology is there. Like he was saying, it can be modified, changed. You know,
I don't think it's that hard. So with Hado, you have the targets. So you just have certain targets that are smaller to be certain parts of the body, and the lightsaber would just be pure AR. you just have to swing the lever at it. But the problem is if you get too close, you might punch them.
Yeah, and see,
and
in my honest opinion,
Yeah.
I like how it's done, just how it is.
Yeah.
Lightsabers, they have lightsabers that you can fart and duel with. Just buy the fucking lightsaber.
But here's the thing. If you combine it with Hado, you can have lightsabers and force powers.
Yes.
Yeah, but what you guys are getting at is still the whole thing. You have to be close up. You saw the videos. It's the way the battle is going. And yes, they could modify it, but like you said, you probably end up punching somebody. You're probably because you have a lightsaber.
I don't think it'd be about changing Hado. I think it'd be about making a new game with that.
You would have to make a new game.
That's what I mean.
That's what I'm saying.
You would have to make a completely new game, but by that time, it's just like, why don't you just battle with the lightsaber?
So there's a quick question I have regarding this. So does Hado have like haptic feedback in anything that you wear?
No, but they're working on it.
Okay.
And there is, if you buy different hardware, and but this is only for the this is only going to be for like the big leagues and for the operators and stuff. There's no plans for this to like. This is not Hado's not something that the consumer is going to buy. Like you're spending. Like,
you're not going to be able to do this at home.
No, you need a big space and you need 5 figures.
That's one of their other first-party titties.
Wow.
So you need 5 figures. So it's not for that, but they're working on haptic feedback. But what they do have is team in Florida, 3 guys suited up, and they played against the team in the UK.
Oh, so like
international matches.
Yeah, so remote, but it's still it's remote. So but it
Remote
still works.
virtual,
You could see the other people because everyone would set their cameras up, and you'd set up your banners, and so it would just feed the things to each other through the
That's
server.
crazy.
And you're able to see.
So
So it's like
literally
they're in front
not
of you.
in the same space, but just
Not even
fighting
the
each
same
other
continent.
But
virtually.
you see like they're in the same space.
Yeah.
They don't get
That's
digitized.
now that
insane.
right there gets your league off international.
Yeah, it's like it's Hado Zoom essentially. You know what I mean? So that helps. But they do have like the World Cup, and then you fly out there, and if you win your country, you get to go and represent in the World Cup. So obviously there's going to be a race to get the first U.S. team out there.
So it sounds like we're inching towards Ready Player One.
Yes.
It'll be there one day. I mean,
Yeah.
you can think about it at the moment because you said it takes 5 figures and all this equipment to do it. But one day it's going to be like laser tag, where back in the 80s where they had laser tag and you could just go to the store and buy it. I mean, the technology is going to shrink to the point where there'll be somebody out there, and it might even be you, puts it in. Not Kmart.
Do
What's
you
this place
see
now? Walmart?
Do you see Hado kind of in the future, like, excuse me, starting to maybe, I don't know, merge or meld the gap between augmented reality and virtual reality, where it becomes almost a fully immersive deal, but you do have other people in that same space with you?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a company right now. I don't know if it's who it is. But they're working on a headset that does both, virtual reality and AR. You couldn't really do it. You couldn't do it simultaneously because if you did it simultaneously, it would just be AR, right? So, so I'm not sure exactly how that would mesh, but you could have a game where you could because aspects of the game you go into a VR world, other aspects you come out and it's an AR world.
Right.
I guess that's possible, and you just have to make a compelling game. Really, is what it's about. Is how good is the game? Because I've seen a lot of cool technology, a lot of cool ideas, but when I first looked at 205, well, what games do you have? Right, that determines if I'm going to buy it, not just is the tech cool. But yeah, I mean, I think anything is possible, and it's going to improve. I don't think Hado, specifically what it is going to last forever.
Right.
Things are going to outdo it, but it's going to be the best thing for a while in that area. I don't know if that answers your question.
I think it would evolve. It probably evolved to the point where you're just like, what do you call it? That VR be like close to R.
What?
Reality. I mean,
Close
it's
to-
augmented. They might come out with stuff. Who knows? Use your imagination right now and just say like Hado evolves into something that's even more like reality.
Yeah.
Right now it's augmented because it's what you're seeing through your lenses or whatnot.
Right.
Like, you never know.
You see the real world. Like I said, it's like looking through your phone with filters on.
Yeah.
Right.
You see it.
You see everything right there. But,
There's some different companies you can buy. There's like a few headsets, $1,000, $2,000, and you can play some little mini games at your house, and there'll be little millions run around your living room. lot of cool stuff out there, a lot of cool ideas. Anybody wants to play it though, we're gonna have it in 2 weeks at Motor City.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm pretty
No,
sure.
we're
a lot
gonna
of
have to
these
make
next
sure
week
we
are
get
the
out
best.
there
week, isn't
to
it?
try it.
Motor City, I think, is next week.
Not this weekend, but
Yeah, it's next weekend.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
next
gotcha.
week.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's going to do it for us here on Culture Junkies Live. I want to thank Mike Castro for coming in again. We're going to see you at Motor City Comic-Con in a couple of next weekend, but I think you're going to be at really cool Comic-Con as well.
We're going to be vending there.
You're going to be vending.
I might not be there, but my crew will be there vending.
Okay.
If we're just vending, I don't go. I send a crew out there. But
Okay.
if there's Hado there, I'm there.
Okay.
But can I plug something real quick?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Please.
I'm giving away a 50 millimeter D20, and so all I got to do is go to our Facebook page. It's all Nebula Amusements, and just click the link and follow the little prompts. And there's different ways to enter.
50 millimeter.
It's about this big. He's yeah, it's a green one. He's fat.
The D20.
Yeah,
I need
D20.
one.
Yeah, right. Priest back there's like, please, man, give me the hookup.
I need one.
I need one.
Well, the last
I hear you.
highlighted message of the show is, "Hey, Mike,
don't read that.
what did you think of Man of Steel?"
What did you think of Man of Steel, the movie?
Yeah,
The Henry Cavill.
The
Man
Henry
of
Cavill.
Steel,
See, clearly he didn't watch it.
Superman movie.
No, I think I seen that Henry Cavill Superman. I'm trying to think what was.
It was so good.
Was it Batman v Superman?
No, that's the one where he fights Zod, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well,
liked it.
Man of Steel is
Man of
where he
Steel
fights
is
Zod.
Zod,
Yes.
Yeah. I liked it. I think he's the best Superman we've had. I like.
No, he's definitely the best Superman.
Yeah,
Oh,
I liked
great.
him as The Witcher too. I'm
Mhm.
bummed that he's not either of those. I like him.
Me too.
I'm bummed that he's not either
Really
of those.
bummed about
Me
that.
too.
I will not. I don't think I'm gonna even try to watch The Witcher.
When Liam Hemsworth comes in,
no hating on him. It's just that he's already established as this guy.
I feel the same way. 100%.
He's
feel
the
the same
vibe,
way.
you know.
Yeah. No, I got it. But anyway, thanks, Mike. Appreciate you coming in and filling us in and let us know what Hado is. GQ, you put up the next week, right?
No, you have the next week, right?
Yeah, but I didn't
I
add it.
personally don't have it.
Okay. Wait, but did you add it to the screen?
No.
No. Okay. Never mind. So next week's show, I made a graphic, but it's not available. But next week's show is going to be a really, really good one. We want you to tune in, especially those of you that may or may not have significant others, because we're doing Culture Junkies group therapy. What is it like for you when you're the one in the relationship that's a geek and your significant other is not? What is the feedback? How do you survive? How do you survive being the nerd? Do you have to hold it in? Do you nerd out and she just gives you the side eye, or he gives you the side eye, whatever? We're going to talk about all of that with a couple of special guests joining us on the stream next week, right here, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Want to thank Mike Castro once again for coming in. We will see you down the road, sir. For my friends, the Great Data Kuji and GQ, I'm Kishiro. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.
Bye, everybody.
I ain't got time to bleed.
Yeah, man.
I got time to eat. Hungry.
Get those end credits there for us, please.
Yeah.
Roll that lovely beam footage.
Roll that lovely beam footage, yes. Oh man.
Fits there.
But no, I can't wait to try Hado. I'm sure. So do you have to, isn't always pay to play wherever you go? No?
Are we still on?
No, we are,
Okay.
but it doesn't matter. It's gonna go off all just you can talk about it. Go ahead.
Okay. It just depends on what the con books. Like we charge a certain flat rate if